What would happen if the 2025 NFL Draft were held today?
Shedeur Sanders in a Carolina Panthers uniform as we sit here on April 28th.
Now, before we start, a note that the 2025 NFL Draft order for this exercise is courtesy of Tankathon. So, with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Number 1, Carolina Panthers, Shedeur Sanders. Deion's son isn't the most polished prospect or NFL-ready prospect in this class, but the Panthers have to address the QB position following the very failed Bryce Young project. Sanders would immediately inject new hope into a suffering fan base, and his big celebrity status would make the Panthers a hot ticket again. If the Panthers can rebuild the offensive line and bring in new weapons, Sanders could have an epic rookie season reminiscent of 2011 Cam Newton. Number 2, Tennessee Titans, Carson Beck. Will Levis is not the answer at quarterback, and it'd be a shock if the Titans didn't address the position here. Depending on who you ask, some view Georgia's Carson Beck as the most talented and NFL-ready quarterback in the 2025 class. With Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, and young bookends Peter Skoronski and J.C. Latham on offense, the pieces would all be there for Beck to produce early and often in Music City. Number 3, New England Patriots, Travis Hunter. This would be a dream scenario for the Pats. Hunter is the most decorated player in the 2025 class. But the Panthers and Titans' needs for quarterbacks means that he's going to fall into the number 3 spot here. The two-way star could presumably play a wide receiver and form a dynamic duo with Drake May. And if the Patriots want to use him on defense, hey, a Hunter Christensen-Gonzalez cornerback tandem would be like peak Darrelle Revis with prime Richard Sherman. Number 4, New York Jets, Mason Graham. Like it or not, the Jets have to stay in win-now mode with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams on the roster. That means taking the best player available, which is Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. A defensive nucleus of Graham, Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald IV, and Sauce Gardner would have New York set up beautifully on that side of the ball for years to come. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars, Will Johnson. Wouldn't be shocked if the Jags had a take the best defensive player mentality here. If so, Michigan corner Will Johnson would be the perfect addition to help the D combat against the AFC's onslaught of elite quarterbacks. Number 6, New Orleans Saints, Cameron Ward. If New Orleans has an ounce of common sense, then they'll accept that Derek Carr is not the answer, and it's time to think long-term. Miami quarterback Cameron Ward would bring some fresh and exciting energy to a team that has been mired in mediocrity since Drew Brees' retirement. Number 7, Las Vegas Raiders, Tetairoa McMillan. This feels too early to take a quarterback. The Raiders could always trade up or down for a signal caller, but they'd have to take the draft's top wide receiver here. McMillan would immediately slot in as the new WR1 with Devontae Adams out of the picture. Whoever the next Raiders QB ends up being, they would be set up tremendously with McMillan and superstar tight end Brock Bowers as its top weapons. Number 8, Cleveland Browns, Will Campbell. The Browns have flaws all over the roster, so they can just go anywhere with this pick. But 2020 first-round pick Jedrick Wills Jr. has not panned out at all, so here's the chance to fill out a pressing need on the O-line. Pairing the LSU star with veteran stalwart Jack Conklin would set up Cleveland's next QB nicely in pass protection for the long run. Number 9, New York Giants, Jalen Milroe. This might be a reach, but it's long overdue for the Giants to end the Daniel Jones era and find a replacement. There is no guarantee that Big Blue will be in a position to take a top QB in the 2026 draft, so hey, they can afford to take a swing here. Number 10, Miami Dolphins, James Pierce Jr. Jalen Phillips has suffered season-ending injuries in back-to-back years, and Bradley Chubb has always been an injury concern. Miami's lack of pass-rushing depth has been exposed without Phillips and Chubb. Tennessee's James Pierce would immediately take over as Miami's lead pass rusher, forming an explosive three-headed monster with the 2 veteran stars. Number 11, Cincinnati Bengals, Luther Burden III. With T. Higgins on his way out, the Bengals cannot rely entirely on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase to carry the passing game. Burden doesn't have Higgins' size or contested catch skills, but he's a burner who can stretch the field and deliver home run catches from Cincy's star QB. Number 12, Los Angeles Rams, Benjamin Morrison. The Rams still haven't found a capable replacement for All-Pro Jalen Ramsey, whose departure left a giant void in the secondary. Notre Dame's Benjamin Morrison has the size and tools to be a top-tier cornerback in this league and would give the Rams that much-needed difference maker in the secondary to complement stud pass rushers Jared Verse, Byron Young, and Kobe Turner. Number 13, Dallas Cowboys, Emeka Egbuka. Jerry Jones has ignored the need for a number 2 receiver long enough. The 2025 draft class is loaded with stud wideouts, so here's his chance to add another weapon for Dak Prescott Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. He stretches the field with his size and bursts off the line of scrimmage and is a matchup nightmare in the red zone. Number 14, Indianapolis Colts, Malachi Starks. The Colts have one of the league's best front sevens, but the atrocious pass defense has prevented this group from really reaching that next level. Georgia safety Malachi Starks is a coach's dream with all the physical tools and brains to line up anywhere on defense. A player of his caliber can single-handedly take the Colts secondary from hapless to very good. Number 15, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Isaiah Bond. Early guess here is that the Bucs don't re-sign pending free agent Chris Godwin after a second season-ending ankle injury. And with Mike Evans turning 32 next year, the draft is the opportune time for GM Jason Light to get younger at the position and ensure the Baker Mayfield-led passing game doesn't miss a beat. Number 16, Seattle Seahawks, Quinn Ewers. Geno Smith has hit a ceiling in Seattle and simply is not a long-term franchise QB. With 1 year left on his contract, Seattle shouldn't be afraid to draft and develop Smith's successor before moving on in 2026. Ewers could very well end up as the top QB to come out of the 2025 class. The Texas star would be set up nicely in an offense led by DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Kenneth Walker. Number 17, San Francisco 49ers, Abdul Carter. We just can't get over the idea of the Penn State standout joining a front seven led by Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Javon Hargrave. So a dynamic edge rusher like Carter could be one of the final pieces needed to help the 49ers finally win that long-awaited 6th Super Bowl. Number 18, Chicago Bears, Nick Scorton. Chicago acquired one stud pass rusher, Montez Sweat, in a trade with the Washington Commanders a year ago. Now, what if they had just one more All-Pro caliber to put the cherry on top of this stingy defense? Texas A&M's Nick Scorton is a 6'4", 285-pound menace who would give the Bears a much-needed difference maker to deal with Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and J.J. McCarthy in the NFC North. Number 19, Arizona Cardinals, Kelvin Banks Jr. Arizona used a 2023 first-round pick on Paris Johnson Jr. to shore up one bookend vacancy. Now let's complete the process of a rebuilt Kyler Murray-led offense by adding another rock-solid run blocker and Texas's Kelvin Banks Jr. to the mix. Number 20, Los Angeles Chargers, Kenneth Grant. A match made in NFL heaven. Jim Harbaugh recruits one of the key pieces of his 2023 national championship winning team in Michigan over to La La Land. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack have uncertain long-term futures with the Chargers because of their ages and injury histories. Never too early to think long-term here, and a brick-wall defensive lineman like Grant would dominate right away under his old coach. Number 21, Atlanta Falcons, Deon Walker. Before acquiring Matthew Judon in a trade with New England, Atlanta had lacked a quality pass rusher to complement defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. With Judon likely leaving in free agency, however, this is a golden opportunity for the Falcons to draft and develop the new long-term cornerstone piece of their D-line with Jarrett getting up there in age. A defense-first coach like Raheem Morris does not need an explanation of what a player like Walker could do for his team. Number 22, Denver Broncos, Colston Loveland. The Broncos have been a pleasant surprise in year 2 of the Sean Payton era, but rookie QB Bo Nix certainly needs some playmaking help if he's gonna hit a ceiling. At this point in the exercise, Michigan tight end Colston Loveland is the best pass catcher remaining. Getting Loveland to help Cortland Sutton would be a nice step forward to improve the passing game. Number 23, Baltimore Ravens, Harold Perkins Jr. The Ravens defense has inexplicably regressed significantly this year. They've invested plenty of money and draft capital in the secondary, so we would expect them to take the best remaining linebacker or defensive lineman here. Number 24, Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Walker. Sure, why not another defensive stud from Georgia to join the Eagles flock? They already have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nolan Smith there to begin with. Bryce Huff has been a flop of a free agent signing, and Brandon Graham may retire after this year. So, perfect time to address the edge rusher spot by taking Walker here. Number 25, Minnesota Vikings, Denzel Burke. It's amazing what Brian Flores has done as the Vikings defensive coordinator with very limited talent. Now just imagine if the Vikings had a pure shutdown corner to deal with all those stud receivers residing in the NFC North. Ohio State's Denzel Burke is a physical corner with the ideal 6'1", 193-pound frame to hold his own against the opposition's number 1 receiver. Number 26, Buffalo Bills, Josh Simmons. Spencer Brown has been a problem as one bookend with a glaring amount of penalties against him. Deion Dawkins as a rock on one side of the O-line, so Buffalo can secure a strong long-term bookend duo by taking the Ohio State offensive tackle. Number 27, Pittsburgh Steelers, Trey Harris. The Steelers tried to trade for Brandon Ayuk before he re-signed with the 49ers. The number 2 receiver spot remains a pressing need, and Ole Miss star Trey Harris would perfectly complement George Pickens. Number 28, Green Bay Packers, Jack Sawyer. This pick probably bores Packers fans since they never take skill position guys in round 1. But they could use another edge rusher to help Rashawn Gary and the deep linebacker core. And a winner and big game guy like Sawyer just feels tailor-made for this defense. Number 29, Washington Commanders, Jonas Savaiinaia. Jaden Daniels has been everything the Commanders wanted and then some. So how about finding him a nice, secure, hulking, long-term blindside protector on the O-line in Jonas Savaiinaia? We saw what happened with young QBs like Derek Carr and Andrew Luck when his team ignorantly ignored the O-line positions. Washington does not need to make that same mistake here. Number 30, Houston Texans, Tyleik Williams. The Texans struck gold by trading up in 2023 to snag Will Anderson Jr. at number 3 overall. If there's a hole in this defense, though, it's the interior D-line. Danielle Hunter has shored up the other edge of the D-line. But how about we give D'Amico Ryans group a run-stopping beast like Ohio State's Tyleik Williams to form a 3-headed monster at tackle. Number 31, Detroit Lions, JT Tuimoloau. The Lions are deep at most positions, so this could be another instance of just taking the best defensive player available. We'd like Dan Campbell and company to bring in one more potent edge rusher to help superstar Aiden Hutchinson, and the 6'5", 265-pound giant out of Ohio State would be the perfect solution. Number 32, Kansas City Chiefs, Ashton Jeanty. The Chiefs don't have any real pressing needs on their roster, not with Rashee Rice returning from injury next year at least. So why not take the best running back available in Boise State's Ashton Jeanty? As scary as it is for the entire NFL to think about, Patrick Mahomes has never worked with a running back of Jeanty's skill set. So they better take the Heisman Trophy frontrunner if he's available here. But who do you think will go first overall in the 2025 NFL Draft? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.